How's it going? It's Tuesday, and God help me with this. Help me with this. Yesterday, I went live and I made all kinds of mistakes. I made a hotkey on OBS to start streaming, and so literally I was practicing what I was going to say. I was listening. I was being frustrated with the technology, and it went live. And when I looked at it, it was like 23 people had seen it, and I was embarrassed. And I kind of thought, well, I'm going to keep it. And I said, no, I'm not. I'm going to take it down. It's not at all what I intended. No one's going to want to watch me for an hour because it was a 15-minute video that literally was 54 minutes. But I think it's a reminder for me. God uses our failures all the time to try to speak to us. And I mean, come on, man. I failed so many times in so many different things. And so last night I failed. I had been 3 or 4 days, so I'm thinking, man, I got to get this done. I got to get this done. And I tried to do it this morning. I thought I was going to do it, and I said no. I'm constantly battling the performance in me that says it's got to be perfect. It's got to be on time. That's the way I was raised. Who doesn't want to have an assignment done on time? Who doesn't want to do what they're told, right? There's a mindset in that, which I think God and our parents and our teachers and our bosses or our clients, they're gonna reward that kind of mentality. But at some point, and I see it with me, that sometimes the act of doing this video becomes more important than the heart of what's supposed to be in the video. And the heart is being surrendered to God and the Holy Spirit, and how He molds us and He continues to work on us if we allow Him. If we allow Him. And everyone out there right now, I think, is reevaluating their value system. I hope they are. I hope you are. What's important? Is milk important? Is steak important? Is toilet paper? I mean, right now, though, I feel like being led by the Spirit and having discernment of what's going on really, and having God help us to see truly what is happening not in our country, in the world, and how, I'm going to say it again, how Christ is coming back for His bride. And it's really easy to get frustrated sometimes, I think, with what's happening. So last night I was really frustrated. I did the stream. I deleted it. So for the 23 people that saw it, here it is again. So I'm on my way to Texas, and I'm coming out of Amarillo, so I'm going to try to do here these videos. And sorry, I'm on my way to Albuquerque, leaving Albuquerque onto Amarillo, a little small city on top of Texas. And I came across this crazy storm. It doesn't look that aggressive, but when you're driving through it, and I've never seen a storm like this, and that's why I brought the mud. Doesn't look like much. It's probably not much, but nonetheless, it was. Excuse me. It was alarming to me, and I almost went and turned off to the side. I had this trailer that I'm pulling with me, and yeah, I was sick. I got past the sickness. I'm still. It's allergy seasons times. Who knows? Jesus is protecting me. I know He is. So for my notes of what happened in Texas, I mean, really, what happens is I'm trying to talk about this neighborhood. I'm greeted, and I'm in this small Airbnb. A 14-year-old girl basically greets me. She is the hostess for the person that owns the house, who's working. And as I spend the next 3 or 4 hours with them, I realize that this whole neighborhood is full of these young adults and young teenagers and little kids that have no place, broken families. This 14-year-old girl's mom is, I think, in jail, or grandmother is dying and had multiple visits of the hospital. our ambulance while I'm there. But she's here and she's curious to know who I am, and I start talking to her about how I'm here with Jesus and where you going next. And she just had this spirit that was refreshing. And she was a 14-year-old that was acting like she was 20. She had the maturity of a 20-year-old. Amazing young woman. Asked me to pray for her grandmother. Kind of came back maybe the next day, said, "Yeah, my grandma says she doesn't really know you." Told her I was going to go to Oklahoma City, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, they really need a lot of healing." All within the hour, this girl is hungry for God's Spirit, and I think we can carry that spirit, and when people that are hungry for a change or hungry for God's Spirit, I think they can sense that in us, and I think this young woman did. When the homeowner got there, I mean, so here they are feeding me. They're, and again, I hate to say poor, but these are, let's just say, they seem to be down on their luck with a lot of things. They weren't perfect. I don't even know if they were Christian, but they were taking it in, the things that I was trying to tell them as delicately as I could. It turns out that the homeowner said something. He said that, as a community, we need to be taking care of ourselves, meaning the neighborhood, because if the government's not going to do it, who's going to do it? So he basically was using his Airbnb probably for more than making money. I think it was really more to try to help these kids, and they were all working together. It was beautiful, and I kind of feel like at a time maybe God was saying, "Hey, man, I don't really even need to have you talk at a church. This is the church that I want you to understand while you're here." Anyhow, so there was something about concentrating on the good, right? God tells us to concentrate on what's on good and what's faithful. And I can't remember the verse, but it's we can easily concentrate on the bad and be critical. I'm very critical at times. And so as I'm staying in this place, it's not very clean, but my bed sheets are amazing. And so I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to compliment this guy. He's very nice. He makes me breakfast. A wonderful, beautiful neighborhood. And again, I'm just going to show you the picture of the home so that you can see how humble of a neighborhood, how humble of a home it is. I'm concentrating on the good, and I said, it's really nice when you stay in a bed and the sheets are really comfortable. So this is a big part of I shouldn't say it's a big part. It's one of the longer things that God, I think, plants things in us. So he gave me this coupon to buy these sheets. They're bamboo sheets, and I thought, wow, this is and he started explaining to me how it's good for cooling and this and that. Yeah, so I ended up just going online. I used this coupon. I bought my sheets and I had them shipped to my house. And it's barely been a month, and I'm like, I'm not going to get to my sheets for 3 months, but it didn't really matter to me. It's a part of my story though, and that's why I'm mentioning it. One of my best friends is like, yeah, Dave, you're a consumer. I have been trying to fight that in me, but I have always been a consumer, and there's this book that I read recently, which I'll mention, and but so now it's time for God's Spirit to work in this city. I'd already spoken in Albuquerque, and I just kind of felt like I'm going to go on a run. I go on a run. I called some churches. I found a really nice church, and again, I'm going to go back to my video here. Grace Church, and big church. Made the phone call, nothing ever happened. I didn't get a phone call back, but I go running, and sure enough, I had already saw like a aerial shot of this church. I run by this church, and I'm like, hey, there's that church that I saw. I go home, I shower, I go back to the church. I ended up meeting the youth pastor. I start telling him my story, and telling him about how and why I'm on my journey, and he ends up kind of clinging on to, you broke down your father's strongholds. And I said, yeah. And he said, well, that's what we're teaching about right now. He said, well, let me have some references and I'll get back to you. Maybe you can speak at our youth group tomorrow night. And I said, great. I ended up canceling my next day trip to Oklahoma City, which was my next city that I had planned. But in faith, I thought, if there's an opportunity, I should probably stay. So I go find another Airbnb. I meet another person. Not only do I meet a person from Sacramento, I met another person from Modesto through the Airbnb. Again, telling them my story of why I'm there. And people say again, if you haven't been listening, why did you go? Why did you go? And I just feel like I went because I had this burning desire in my heart to tell people what God did in me, and that He'd healed me from this addiction in my life all these years. The next day he calls me. He said, yeah, let's do this. I go to his church. I start worshiping on their piano. I really don't have anything else to do. He takes me to lunch. I go to Whataburger. If you saw the video again, if you haven't been to Texas, you need to go to Whataburger. And everyone that goes to California says, hey, you got to go to In-N-Out. So there's Whataburger. Got to experience that. The high school was amazing. I took a video of it. You can see it on my YouTube channel. It's one of the recordings that I did. They received me beautifully. Just a lot of joy in being received by a big church. This was a big church. This was the biggest church that I spoken at. There was by about 50 people, and got to play ping pong. Got to just hang out with these kids. And it was a beautiful sight to see. God was faithful, and I really believe that the message that I brought there, a lot of the people needed to hear it. But the Bible story is, as again, Gideon gets called by God, and I think this was the thing that God wanted to show me through my journey. Until Gideon basically took down the stronghold, I think it's Judges 6, and I left my Bible in the other room, and so I'm going to go really fast, and then we're going to call it a day, man. Wow, see, you're under pressure, and I can't get it. Can't go. Judges 6. So basically, Gideon doesn't want to go. Gideon's like, God, you got the wrong person. He's questioning God. God's saying, I'm going to use you. You're a great warrior. And he says here it is, Gideon 6:25. The same night the Lord said to him, take the second bull of your father's herd, the one that's 7 years old. Tear down your father's altar to Baal and cut down. Then build a proper kind of altar to the Lord. Basically, he's asking Gideon to get rid of the false gods and put in the true God. What false god are you putting on the high place in your life? Comfort, which is again one of those hidden idols. Comfort, convenience, sex, money, your ministry, your children, your wealth, your health. All of those things are secondary to God's kingdom. They're all temporary. Even if you have perfect health now, that doesn't mean you're guaranteed it. Even if you have a retirement, many of you might be losing your retirement. Many of you might be losing your church. Many of you have already lost your jobs. So really, what are you going to put above God? And so I already felt like I needed to hear this before I came on here, but God is using this time to check us and to wake us up. And I can say it over and over and over and over and over. Are you going to listen? Are you going to be receptive to what God's trying to show you? Or are you going to hold on to that idol of comfort or that job? But I had so much money. Or I used to be so skinny. And now that I can't go to the gym 3 times a week, yeah, I'm probably gaining a little bit of weight. Is it the end of the world? No. Can I drink more water and less food? Yeah. Jesus I pray that whoever's listening, Father, that they hear my heart. And it's not even my heart, Father. I'm trying to put my heart towards the things that you put within me. And I want to just keep getting this stuff out. There's so much that I still want to share about this journey, and so many people have asked me about it, and it's just 120 days, 120 days with just seeking what God wants to do every day for 120 days. Yeah, man, there's a lot of things that came out of me, and I'm just trying to share them with people, Father. Help me do that with authenticity. I can't even say the word. And help me to not be so performance oriented and more spirit led. Pray that you guys have a great night. Thank you for listening. I'm just trying to keep these things short. We're off to Oklahoma City next, and as usual, I'm in for a lot of surprises. God bless. Good night.